Hello and welcome back to Empyrion. Today's video we are going to be exploring some of the different types of planets, star systems, faction homeworlds, and potentially even different moons you can find in Empyrion. Empyrion takes place in the Andromeda galaxy, which is, I don't know how many light years away, probably very far. It's one of the bigger neighboring galaxies closest to our galaxy of the Milky Way. Now, this video is probably going to be very long. I'll try and put some timestamps into areas where I can here and there. So the first thing we're going to do is explore different types of planets that are similar to our own solar system in the Sol system, as I believe we call it. So I'm probably going to skip some of the more simpler planets like the temperate planets that you're probably aware. For instance, I am around an Earth-like planet. It's got a lot of Earth-like similarities, some odd talent, peaceful factions. And before we begin this journey, we're just going to have the necessary equipment ready to go. So first things first, I want to explore a planet in this solar system. It is a Mercurian class planet, aka a barren scorched. This planet orbits extremely close to its sun or star and has very odd resources, but very small deposits here and there. So we're going to warp to that little Mercury type planet, and we're going to quickly explore it. Now, as I said, this is going to be a very long video. We're going to have a lot of topics and a lot of warping. So this video is probably going to take me a while to record. So I hope you do enjoy. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to have more Empyrion adventures and to see some of the combat that I've gotten into with some of my ships. This is my new UFO Akurok, depending how you want to pronounce it, but we're not going to focus on the UFOs and ships and stuff. We are here to explore, so I hope you enjoy, and let's get into it. So the first planet on the agenda is a Mercury class type planet, where it orbits extremely close to its star. Now, in our case, Mercury is a lot closer to the sun than it is in this case, but it's still classified as like a Mercury style planet. The surface is extremely hot in the day side and then cools down in the night, but not enough to the point where you could actually survive and or live. So these planets require specialized vehicles, capital ships, preferably not using hovercrafts. If you get stuck and you need to get out of your hovercraft, you will bake to death. Even on the cold side, it is still very hot. But we're going to go down to the surface quickly and see some of the quick things that we can find. So we are now just hovering above the surface of the ground on this barren scorched planet. Now, this tiny little planet, this is actually a medium-sized planet, offers a vast amount of different type of resources. However, they come in very small pockets, so it's not always ideal to come to a barren scorched planet for mining purposes. I will say though, one side, the daylight side, 550 degrees Celsius, and then night side hitting under 200 degrees Celsius. There's no atmosphere, no O2, 4.0 radiation on the Geiger counter from my understanding, and half the gravity of Earth, which is to say you could jump around and enjoy if you had a suit that could survive the heat. It does not matter how many insulation boosters you put on, you will not survive on this planet. These planets are also not very fond for, oh, there's actually some monuments. Someone at one point was living on this planet, and we have the odd wreckages, monuments. You'll probably find some crashed capital vessels. But this is by far one of the most hard to overcome planets. You will never want to walk along the surface of this planet. Even with an epic armor suit, you cannot put on enough insulation boosters to survive this planet. But safe to say, it's still very bright. If you're looking to get a tan in just half a millisecond, this is definitely the planet to go to. Alright, let's see our next planet. The next planet on the roster is actually a moon, a small ice moon orbiting a gas giant. This gas giant actually seems very similar to Jupiter, however I don't see the giant red storm eye on it. Now these ice moons in orbit have a lot of different ships that like to orbit around. You'll sometimes find hostile ships or even alien ships and the odd trader ships, But ice moons are actually a really good place to mine ice, believe it or not. Now let's go down to the surface. So this ice moon is actually a type B ice moon, and unfortunately I might have been wrong about the ice part. It's mostly got magnesium and cobalt ore deposits, along with the odd POI and defense area, or even pirate bases. It's a very beautiful moon, I'd say, though. There's a lot of nice reflection with the light, how it hits the surface of the planet. The moon, sorry, I should really be more specific. You won't find any water, trees, or oxygen here, but you will find a beautiful landscape of just frozen acres of ice on the surface. Well, I will say it does kind of look like an ice age is happening, but this is just a frozen moon, kind of, I'd say, like Triton to some extent. The sunrise and sunset are always very gorgeous with these different colored rings that appear, along with the visibility of the gas giant, making these moons a very beautiful place to settle down, and I'd say also very peaceful. Not very many Zyrax, unless you're in a war with the pirates. It makes a nice little rest stop planet. Next moon on the itinerary is actually a moon I have not visited yet in Empyrion. It is a new moon called a Desert Canyon moon. From here I can actually see what looks like water and vast amounts of Grand Canyon scattered all over this planet. Sorry, moon. I keep doing that. It's not like Pluto. This is a moon that's also orbiting the same gas giant, which is highly convenient. This moon, because I have not actually been to it yet, this will be my first time going onto this moon. So together we are going to see some of its sights and what it offers. Noticeably, this canyon moon is filled with pirate bases. It is almost like a pirate's haven. We have a patrol vessel HQs. We have the odd different POIs to find, defense peg legs, way stations, hyper city colonies, Raptor Ranch. This is a pretty massive pirate hideout planet moon. Impressively, though, this is very well set up. It's got an ominous green glow, so I'm almost wondering. Oh no, there's no radiation, so it must be a mist. And it's even got O2 is breathable. I mean, I wouldn't want to open my visor on this type of moon, but it does seem to have a stable enough atmosphere density to breathe and live on. So if you want to have pirates as your neighbors, I would even say this is a not too bad planet to set up shop on. It's got water, so you can have water harvesters, and from what I can see, a lot of pentax. Mind you, they're very small deposits, and you can even find player spawner water. Huh, I've never seen that before. Some colonists can also be found on one side, survivors camps, and it looks like, wow, there's a very massive colonist settlement along this moon, which indicates a good amount of trading and potential to do contracts and or work for the colonists. So this is a very nice looking moon, I will admit. I've never been here, so this is my first time. I do see quite a few crashed vessels all along, indicating that there was some accidents. Hope they had insurance. Most likely not. I believe right below us is a colonist base. Oh? Okay, yeah, it disappears on the map after a bit. But this is the Desert Canyon map. Very habitable, very livable, and it's probably a good, safe place to build a small base. Have a little way station. Alright, on to the next. The next system is a snow planet, aka a planet that it would pretty much be Canada in the middle of February. From space, you can see that there are some melted pockets of water and ocean that have not frozen over. Those pockets of water have some amount of volcanic activity underneath that keeps those waters melted. However, the planet's surface itself does reach well below freezing, especially when night hits, where you want to take shelter and or have warm drinks ready on standby. Now, this planet also has a moon that we're going to visit, which is, I believe, a Type A ice moon, which is the other variant of an ice moon, hopefully the one that actually has ice that you can mine. But we're going to go on to the main planet's surface first and see what kind of POIs and resources you can expect to find. Now these planets are habitable, and half the time they have breathable atmospheres. Most likely than not, though, however, you will need insulation boosters to walk around on the surface or utilize special equipment, for instance hovercrafts and or SV fighters. Now this might make more sense to my fellow Canadians, but a planet like this is only really good if you're looking to be a hardcore survivalist. This planet has a breathable atmosphere, 10% O2 content, and has a good amount of the medium required resources. So for instance, I could see we have cobalt, neodymium, and titanium, and then of course promethium, which is always good for fueling your ships. These planets, however, usually have a good amount of legacy POIs. So for instance, an abandoned factory is over here, abandoned depot, any POI base that has abandoned on it, you can find some ores, my bad, you can find legacy faction stuff. So abandoned POIs are the ones that have, for instance, legacy containers, has a whole bunch of enemies you have to fight, kind of like fighting a dungeon in some extent. So abandoned assembly yards, those actually have a pretty good turnout for loot. I can mostly see pirate settlements. Not really a planet that you want to settle down, I'd say. Being cold, vast amount of resources though, which is always nice. Oh, an abandoned reactor, those are fun. I will admit, it's probably best to just come to this planet, grab what you need. Very large carbon ore, which is always good for carbon substrate, and a large cobalt deposits. Very large titanium. So these planets are awesome for mining very large deposits of different resources. Probably won't see a vast, heavy amounts of copper and silicon, but you can find very large iron as well. These planets, I will say, can be a little cold and depressing if you have seasonal affective disorder. Best to avoid, but if you're on the hunt for minerals at a quick place area for your auto miners, these are a go-to spot for sure. Our next moon is a very similar moon to the moon Europa, with a frozen surface and a actually thawed ocean underneath the surface. However, due to game physics and the game logic, if you dig in this moon, you won't actually find an ocean, but the lore of it is that this planet was a ocean moon that froze over thousands of years, leaving all the atmosphere, ice, oxygen, nitrogen frozen within the surface with a water O2 below and in between the rocky crust. So these moons are actually usually a good spot to find ice, if I'm not mistaken. I'm hoping it's still the same case because this is everything updated. So we're going to go down to the surface and see what we find. So my predictions were unfortunately wrong once again. This ice moon, a type A ice moon, does not have any ice deposits. So we cannot mine ice on this moon either. However, we do have some various abundances of promethium and the odd silicon deposit. I probably want to suggest avoiding these moons because I don't really see any POI signatures either. Oh, I do see what could be a simple artifact. Artifacts can be found in this game. They're kind of more so a decorative thing. But as you can see, this ice moon has very little, if not any, atmosphere. Its atmosphere is actually 0.14 kilograms m squared 3 cubed, my bad, I guess that's cubed. 0.02, small bit of radiation, kind of just takes in the regular amount from a moon. Temperatures, however, do get pretty dang cold here, but a very small amount of gravity, so this does make it for a nice little moon, and it's survivable. You could definitely walk around with an EVA booster and survive the cold, but you might not get around very quickly with an EVA booster attached. There's a lot of little river stream cracks, though, that look like there could have been like rivers along this moon, and very large craters all over with the odd small mountain hill here and there, making these moons a nice little place to just quickly visit, kind of take a break, and hide from enemies if you're ever on the run from the Zyrax. Very beautiful sunrises with that very thin atmosphere, with that eerie green glow from the radiation. But very little radiation, nothing that really concerns, even if we have a light armor booster on. Now we've came across a good amount of moons, so the next moon here is actually what I believe a varnished desert moon. This moon, unfortunately, is not very keen for resources, if I'm not mistaken. However, we do have a protected magnetic field, so the radiation is actually kept very low. Oh, hold on. My apologies. I have an enemy ship right in front that is trying to attack me, so I need to try and avoid it. I could very easily destroy it, but I'm trying not to provoke any combat at the moment because I would like to stick to the topic of this video. So we are going to quickly make our way to the planet's surface. The crispness and varnish on this moon indicates that at one point passed too close to its nearby star, which fried the actual sands. But at the same time, we do see a pretty good, healthy amount of resources that you can find on this planet. So a lot of your more basic resources can be found in smaller and large quantities. Still very small amounts of pentax and promethium, but you can find the odd artifact and POI on this planet, so you'll probably find maybe one or two. The Zyrax and Polaris usually avoid these planets, but you will sometimes find them on mining expeditions. It's a very simple moon, no O2, slight atmosphere density, along with a vast difference of temperatures. Radiation is unfortunately a little higher than it should be, even with the magnetic field of the gas giant that protects it. But it does keep some of the gases from drifting into space. By this, it has accumulated extreme amounts of desert varnish. So the gases that have remained inside have actually varnished the surface of this desert moon. But it's a good place to hide. As you just saw, I was hiding from enemy ships. And it does make for a nice little Tatooine feel kind of planet, but it's not much to find. Off to the next world. The next planet we've come across is orbiting a O-class star, which is an extremely bright star, giving off immense of heat and radiation. This planet was actually scorched by its sun, not quite like a Mercury-class planet. However, the sand and radiation along this planet seems to have softened a good majority of the crust, where it once had pockets of water and a strong magnetic field, but was unfortunately stripped away from stellar tides. Luckily, it does have some atmosphere, but not enough to really sustain life, as this planet has no O2 and barely any kinds of gases. So we will go to the surface and see what kind of inhabitants and or resources we can find here. Surprisingly, even on a scorched desert planet, we can find life trying to hold on along these little pockets of these craters that once held water. These craters were at one point little pockets of water that fauna and life would feed from and live at. But after many years of scorching hot radiation, oh look, we even have an arachnid spider. And my ship is unfortunately taking care of the wildlife here. The desert planets do offer quite a beautiful sight if you are someone who enjoys the heat and or the Nevada desert with the certain mountains and areas. Now, miraculously, there are small pockets of oasis trees. This is almost giving the hints that the planet is starting to cool down and allow for life to grow, unless these trees have evolved in some way to resist the heat. But this is rather surprising. There's an actual oasis of trees, greenery, and edible plant life. So I guess some desert planets are not too bad, considering this little area, and it looks like there's even water in some areas. So depending on what side of the hemisphere and this planet's rotation, life is finding a way to exist on this little desert planet. Very peculiar, along with some of the odd colonist bases that I was seeing on the map. So if old silos, there was There we go. Water purification plant by the colonists at Tundra Research. For all we know, the colonists could be terraforming this planet, which is very good of them. This could be a very vast greenhouse. We got some good amounts of neodymium along the planet. Large deposits are usually found on desert planets along with the iron. So surprisingly, these planets do hold potential. If you are willing to brave the heat, that is. But at night, it's cooled down. It's a lot nicer. You got life and crickets. I gotta say, I was kind of surprised here. I learned something new every day. This peculiar planet that I've come across is known as a temperate prairie planet. Similar planets like these are usually populated by the Talon and Xyrax forces, but we're going to see which one this one holds. And this planet is ironically orbiting a binary star system with a G and F class stars that orbit around each other. And in the distance we can see a purple gas giant that kind of gives me the vibes of Eve from Kerbal Space Program. But this planet looks very promising for life along with habitable O2 and atmosphere density. It's an older planet, bright sun, dry land with plants and fungi. The extremes died off, and it's okay. So it says something about one of them invading. So we're gonna go to the planet's surface and see what kind of factions we can find and the different vast quantities of resources. But this definitely looks like a nice Alberta planet without all the water. If you're from Canada and you know what I mean by Alberta, then well, this might suit you very well. Weirdly enough, this temperate prairie planet is actually mostly populated by a warlord clan. They have a very small outpost-based area in the southern hemisphere, and there is a type of CV that patrols the air and the areas, along with the odd minigun drones here and there, but I don't see any other factions that are living on this planet. It seems like an actually nice planet. Zero radiation, very similar atmosphere density, breathable O2, and rough temperatures of -7 minimal to +45 Celsius. This actually seems like a very nice planet to be on. Vast quantities of water and deep oceans, fungal life, along with other expectations of mountains and snow. I can see there is this capital ship here, a Xanthidae. We're just kind of zooming around it quickly just to get a rough idea of what it is. And yeah, this is pretty much a warlord paradise. Plenty of trees, a very vast amount of resources, if I do say. A healthy amount of resources at that. Mostly your basics along with one gold deposit. So this is pretty similar to your basic temperate starter, but this is a prairie planet. And it has mountains, so it doesn't look very prairie-ish. Oh, I see multiple CVs are closing in, so we should probably take our ship out because they don't look like they want us here. Warlord factions can be very pinicky about who enters their territory. Next planet is a combination of a temperate and desert world known as an arid planet. These planets are actually slightly radioactive and most of the time do not have a breathable atmosphere due to the various gases combined with O2. These planets are usually, from my understanding, populated with a lot of Xyrax factions trying to claim over the resources and territories. So this planet's actually a very good place to test your different creations and your combat skills, so we'll give it a gander. Now, these arid worlds also have a pretty safe amount of friendly factions. For instance, I can see we have some trader commons along with defense diamonds and the odd abandoned POI from the legacy remains. There's actually a pretty good amount of POIs to explore, which is nice. And it looks like, oh, this planet also has some Talon. And I don't see any Xyrax, so that's actually pretty lucky. This looks like a trader's hub for the Talon and the traders. We have a small little village area, boatmaker's house. Very peaceful, lots of water to find as well. Not as much as like a regular temperate world, but a vast amount that you could make these a very good place to live. The only unfortunate side is these planets are susceptible to radiation storms or radiation fog that sometimes sweeps in, and if you're not wearing the proper equipment, you will unfortunately take radiation damage and potentially get cancer, because that's usually what happens when you're dealt with radiation damage. Lots of trees and wildlife. These planets do have a vast amount of raptors and spiders that will try and eat you and kill you. And there's also the healthy amount of edible vegetables, fruits, and honey, making these planets kind of ideal in a way. They're always good to find, especially when you have trader positions all over the place. And look, there's even some colonist settlements. These planets are actually a pretty good haven for colonizing. But unfortunately, O2 content 13% and not breathable due to the mixed gases and atmosphere density. 0.5 radiation that can increase up to anywhere between 4 to 6 with radiation storms. And temperatures hitting a max of 70 degrees, so you will die of heat stroke without the appropriate insulation boosters. For safety and security purposes, I'd like to point out, if you ever come across a Tianlong enemy warlord ship, I highly recommend making sure you have a sufficient battleship, as the Tianlong is known to be one of the most feared, powerful ships in the Andromeda galaxy. It is by far one of the hardest CVs to fight. Beside that, or Tovera, the two of those are extremely deadly, and I do not recommend them unless you have a warship. Even my massive UFO ship would not last very long against a Tianlong without the proper procedures. So just wanted to point out, be safe and avoid Tianlong. We have now reached a part of the video where we're going to start exploring some of the more unfamiliar types of planets, ones that are very exotic and different, and in my opinion are some of my favorites. We are currently floating around a dual binary, or a binary system of M-class planets, are pretty much red giants that have expanded and burned away. One of them looks a little bit more intense with all the, look at all those solar ejections there. That's pretty insane. So we're going to warp to one of my personal favorite types of planets. Oh, we're currently not flying towards it. Interesting. Whew. We are currently in orbit of one of my more favorite planets to explore. These are known as alien flora planets. They are extremely radioactive. They have a very thick UV atmosphere tolerant density. Pretty much the suns that give off the radiation and light filtrate through this thick atmosphere, and only little amounts of UV light seem to get through. World in deep black light, where lots of sunscreen. The atmosphere contains gases that are only passable for ultraviolet rays. Those are invisible to the human eye. From surfaces, they could still be reflected back as light, resulting in bleak yet colorful landscapes. Now, I admit I love these planets because there's tons of stuff to hunt, and they're usually very quiet and not many factions are found on these planets. So we're going to go to the surface and get a quick look at some of the colorful life and, if any, legacy stuff, because this planet is fully infected with krill and legacy. As you can see from the planet's surface, this is not the a paradise of any kind. This is actually a terrifying landscape of green bleak. Plenty of life, but this is definitely a planet that you need to be brave if you're going to try and explore it. So if we look on the map here, this is a very large planet as well. We have gotten lucky and found a very massive planet that has tons of abandoned POIs to explore. There are ancient shelters, crashed ships, all over the place. The abandoned bunkers, those are one of my favorite POIs. I just recently did a video of those if you want to check that out. But this planet doesn't actually seem to have a lot of factions on it. Alien flora planets are actually a very good place to come if you're looking for medicinal ingredients for certain health packs, medical kits, trauma kits, detox kits, decontamination kits. These are very good planets to come and find alien thorns and fire confetti moss and the odd creatures along here for meat, alien teeth, and alien parts that are sometimes required as well. Now, I will admit, if you're walking around this planet, you want to be heavily armed with good armor and a weapon that has plenty of ammo, because this is a very dangerous planet to be on, especially if you're going to try and live and colonize. I, for one, when I find one of these planets, I automatically colonize and live on it, and I make a very mass amount of auto miners, and I mine the planet clean, because there's so many good resources. You'll also find an abundance of a restrum, and here we have over 80 deposits, and a good majority of these deposits are actually nice and large. You also have your aluminum, your cobalt, magnesium, promethium, and pentax. Pentax deposits are actually not too bad here. Mostly small. I think there's the odd medium. They're very rare, unfortunately, but you can also find very large deposits of promethium, which is always nice. As I mentioned, though, these planets are deadly. Travel advisory is always put up in effect. Coming across another planet that I haven't visited yet, a radiated ice planet. I've actually don't know much about these type of planets. An icy world that slowly gets melted and sublimated away from the star's intense flares. After all these millions of years, the regions that resist to reflect light better will be left standing as mountains. Currently a playfield is a sketch. World may change considerably with future updates, limited gameplay yet. It does have very little resources, but I'm wondering if this planet actually, now that I'm seeing the planet thing, it does not have ice to mine, unfortunately. But still couldn't be too bad of a planet to look at, so let's give a gander. So right off the bat, this planet only has 3 small magnesium deposits. Nothing else. There's no colonies, there's no crashed vessels, so this is definitely a playfield still being constructed and is a very early version of itself, but it definitely gives off creepy ice vibes. It's very open and plain, though. It doesn't seem to have like a ton of mountains either. And looking up, we could see the 2 binary stars very far away, so this planet is not getting a lot of light, and it's highly a lot of radiation hitting the surface at 19.2, temperature differences of 55 degrees and minus 118. This is definitely not a world I would want to live on. The next planet on our list is actually a Venusian-style planet, a Venus, so to speak. This planet, unfortunately, does not allow us to have... Oh, hold on, I gotta balance this ship out before I spin out. So this planet has crazy temperatures, hostile weather, dense atmosphere, and capital vessels cannot enter, or else it will have a hull crush. So if you try and fly your ship into that planet, it will simply bounce back. Landfall is not advised. Be advised, you do not want to walk around this hot, scathing, barren hothouse. But we are going to at least take our little scout ship, and we are going to try and make landfall. These planets are actually really insane to explore, because just like the barren scorched, the atmosphere, there's no breathable atmosphere, and it is extremely hot. You cannot make any water, you can't make any oxygen. There are settlements on this planet, which is very surprising, but I do find that it's the resources on this planet that make it worth exploring. So we're gonna give it a gander and see just how hot the surface is, and hopefully we can escape and not be crushed to death. So as we explore the surface of this Venusian-style planet, it's probably worth mentioning that the planet's surface reaches around 600 degrees Celsius, and minimal temperatures are 495 degrees Celsius. Now, it does have a bit of a radiation, but that's probably mostly from the planet's lava fields, because this planet pretty much reflects all of its sunlight back into the surface, and it is It is, as it says, there are probably a lot of resources down there ready to be claimed, as are the ships of those who perish trying. There are a ton of dead, crashed capital ships all over this planet, and it looks like there was a civilization at one point that lived on this planet. There's a bunch of hidden monuments all over the place, but this planet suffered a horrible greenhouse effect from being just a tad bit too close to its fusion host. As you can see though, this planet is nothing short of a absolute gas hell. Now I'm curious though, there should be some legacy creatures running around. The last time I visited one of these planets, I was being chased. It's very barren, very open. No faction really likes to try and land and claim anything on this planet. I don't blame them though. It's quite the boiling hellhole, but honestly it has a lot of mystery and has this very reminding fact that we are so lucky to live on the planet that we do. Because one day, if we're not careful, Earth could become just like this planet. And it looks like there's not a lot of yeah, no, I don't see any legacy factions. They would be cooked to death, but they do somehow survive the heat. Now, the resources, however, only one Zascosium resource on this planet, but you can find the odd gold, sathium, promethium, very high amounts of copper, from what I could see. Large copper deposits, very large copper deposits, and medium promethium, which is nice. But at the end of the day, is this really a planet you want to come to? And potentially die if you run out of fuel. If your ship runs out of fuel and turns off and you can't leave it, you will be doomed and you will be cooked very quickly. Due to some technical difficulties, I seem to have warped into the belt line of this next planet that I was about to explore, and unfortunately this is one of those moments where you cannot really recover. My ship is completely stuck inside this belt line and I cannot get it out. So I'm gonna have to either completely delete this or restart this whole save file. So give me a second. The next planet we're gonna come across is a barren world that is barren temperate, which for lack of a better word is pretty much if Earth never had life. This planet is pretty much a pre-life existent form of Earth. It's got some water, but mostly mineral rock and deposits. It's very common, though, that factions will try and populate these worlds and colonize them. But I'm pretty sure there's no oxygen. Yep, no, O2 content is no, has a very thin atmosphere, no radiation from what I could see, and a little lighter gravity. But it's apparently a very decent place for some factions. Now, there are a lot of capital vessels that like to patrol these particular planets, so you have to be very wary of what you come across. But we're going to go down to the surface and see what stuff we can see depending on factions. I'm pretty sure there's not going to be a lot of life, though, unfortunately. This is not your typical barren planet. There's these odd signals of various things scattered all over the world, along with some crash stuff. But what really puzzles me is there's a warlord faction that is chilling around a pile of refuse and wreckages. I don't see what any other type of factions, but this could be another warlord favorite faction planet. But my guns were shooting at something on the ground, so I'm almost hinting at the idea that life was imported here, since life could not develop without some type of cataclysm or even some random asteroid from the creation of time, as some speculate is how most life on some planets starts. So right now it's very foggy. I'm actually wondering if oh yeah, we're about to encounter some dangerous hail. This is very deadly looking planet, though. We got some minigun drones that are patrolling. I'm pretty sure there's also a faction warship flying around here. With all my guns firing off, I'm curious as to know what exactly is on the planet's surface that they are firing at. Ah, drones. They are firing at drones. That makes sense. They are firing very relentlessly at the drones. So this is definitely a planet that you could colonize, but I don't see any. There are absolutely zero deposits on this planet, unless these signal points are the resources that they cannot be pinpointed. Titanium, aluminum, copper, and gold? Huh, interesting. So some of these signals may indicate hidden resources. So it might be worth exploring, but unfortunately this is not a planet that I would recommend involving myself with. But definitely holds mystery, especially with potential for finding gold. This next planet is more so, I'd say, kind of like a Pluto class type planet. It is a volcanic nitrogen planet. I don't know quite how to explain it besides maybe showing the log for it, but it's a very lonely, dark, and it's also a work in progress. It's a nitrogen volcanic, so it's so cold that the surface water, or that the nitrogen in the atmosphere, is turned into the surface. And sometimes this planet gets too close to its star and the water will expand. That was an interesting way to come into the planet. But yeah, just looking at the surface, it almost looks like it's water, but it's actually ice. Oh, and there's apparently a very unfavorable faction. Oh, it's probably a type of Zyrax. I'd more so like to point out that this small planet is more so like a moon. It does have some resources, but not quite enough for me to ever want to visit. Definitely a lot of crashed capital vessels, wreckages, and then the odd pirate outpost, and then there was a Gist base over here, forward operations base. So Gist is pretty much one of the intelligence factions of the Zyrax. This is actually kind of nice looking, but at the same time, very empty. Kind of gives a bit of a odd loneliness to this world. But nonetheless, a new and potential planet added to the Andromeda sector. Lots and lots of stuff to kind of take in at once. Plenty of rock, that's for sure. Next planet is actually a player favorite planet of most players of Empyrion. This is an ocean world, temperate with tons of beaches and beautiful landscapes. Not a lot of POIs or resources, depending on how large of a planet you find, but these are usually the go-to planets for a lot of players, especially if you're playing Reforged Eden 2, where you can have bioluminescent worlds, but this is vanilla, so we're not going to get into those. Ocean worlds usually have an abundance of pirates, because of course pirates and beaches go together like peanut butter and jam. Now, the one big thing about these planets that I like is the odd resource that you can find. So sometimes you can find gold bearings just chilling on a beach, making these very nice, unique exploration planets. Being lucky enough to find an ocean world, you'll sometimes come across Talon settlements, little fishing huts, along with beautiful white crystal clear beaches, tons of plant life you can live off of, eat, especially if you have a ship that you can actually use to fly around the planet. You got the odd alien creatures here and there that will walk around, keep you company, or they'll try and eat you, especially those aggressive little bastards. As you can see, we have some Talon residents just walking around the island, their own private paradise, living in peace, away from the Zyrax and the Legacy. They got watchtowers, they got beautiful landscapes, and they kind of protect the nature wildlife around, keeping everything in order and in place. A truly beautiful paradise planet, along with a good amount of resources you can find. I believe that's actually platinum right there. Primitive, yet defensive. Absolutely gorgeous views. The perfect planet to settle down and build a paradise home. After a small break, we are now at our next moon, which is a lava moon. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm starting to get to the point where it's really hard to find the remaining planets and moons for this video. So, trying to find them, the last few is getting a little rougher. Now, these lava moons, I don't know what it is about them, but they are very peaceful. There's no atmosphere. They don't have any water. Actually, I wonder if there is an oh, it's very thin. Extremely thin. In this case, this lava moon has just started to cool. A baby moon with a not yet solid core, faint traces of an atmosphere, born out of a stellar disk, or it is the remnant of a spectacular planetary collision. Now this moon has such a thin atmosphere that when the light goes through it, it has this beautiful red-pink haze. And the sunrise of the two suns together just gives it even more beauty. The surface of this moon has a very distinct red tinge, and it's actually not super hot. You could easily walk around this with a light armor and some simple boosters. Good quality amounts of carbon can be found across the surface, but at the end of the day, I'd like to call this a very peaceful world to set up a base. There's almost no factions. I'm actually pretty sure there's not even, oh, there's an artifact. And that's about it on this moon. Everything else is some resources. Got the light amount of pentax, very light amount of promethium. You got very large iron and silicon deposits along with some medium cobalt. So it is a nice little moon to come and harvest if you need the stuff. All in all, though, I love coming by these little baby lava moons. They are very, it's a peaceful red. You can't go wrong with that. Our next moon on the list is actually a very faint, small, Zyrax infested. It's a moon nascent. Zyrax resource survey in progress. So this is actually one of those worlds that's just got its atmosphere cooled enough for rain. Last bit of planetary neighborhood crash into the surface. Does have some violent weather, unfortunately, but this is the type of moon that is growing life. And there's water, it rains, it hails, but big thing to note is the Zyrax presence. As we come closer to the planet's surface, I will note that there's also a very heavy pirate presence, and there's also no Zyrax from what I can see. I'm actually a little surprised by that. Usually these planets are filled to the brim with Zyrax activity. You can also find some rare elements like Zascosium and Erestrium, just enough to kind of get yourself started and going. I will admit, there's usually some Zyrax patrols though. I'm actually very shocked. This might be the first time I've come across a moon that does not have all the Zyrax presence. I mean, there's very little bits of water, but the water is still kind of gathering in pools when it rains. The atmosphere is at least thick enough for heavy rain, which is nice. And we're also breathable, but with light bits of radiation and max temperatures reaching 60 degrees and -4 minimals. Atmosphere density is just enough to support life, filling the water with color of an early photosynthesis. Wow, and the pirates have control over it. Nascent moons are also, in my opinion, a very awkward place to try and set up a location for a base, because the weather does get very violent and extreme, but it is also very manageable compared to some of the other planets. I think we have a little pirate base here. Yeah, a little distillery. Huh, we could get some good tasty alcohol here, I bet. And here comes the heavy rain. With a nice big blue, I believe that's a Class B planet, or Class B sun. Oh! We have some Zyrax. Oh, these are enemy Ripper Dogs, and it just hurt me. These are not friendly to the Zyrax. Usually the Ripper Dogs are friendly to the Zyrax, but not in this case. Oh, I guess my guy better go get some medical aid. This planet was surprisingly really hard to find, considering I usually find these planets all over the place. This is a barren metal planet, or as I like to call it, a Martian type of planet. Kind of like Mars in a weird way, but not as cold. So, it is apparently a medium-sized planet with no O2, no breathable atmosphere, very low atmosphere density, a great deal of radiation, 12.4, has a very awesome mix of resources though. You can actually get a good amount of Evrestrum and Zascosium and even some gold here. But this is also a planet that is apparently protected by a lot of different factions. That also depends if you're in any different neutral zones or Zyrax zones or Curl space. A lot of times if you're in any of those specific sectors, you will find those factions on these planets with anti-aircraft guns all over the place, usually around the main deposit sources. So we're going to go land on it and see how well the resources look and or if there are any potential factions. The idea of this planet was that it was stripped of a good majority of its main surface, rock and ore, leaving all of the more richer and finer ores and resources exposed. Ooh, and as you can see, that is a very bright star right above it. This is actually a BO class. There's, yeah, two very bright, very hot stars, so I'm not surprised that this planet is as stripped and destroyed as it is. Below us, there's all these scars of the missing elements of ores. But the fact that this planet does have a light atmosphere, and I think it's actually about to rain. No, it's mostly cloudy. And we found a POI. Interesting. Plenty of deposits everywhere, especially a good place to find copper, Zascosium, and platinum. Platinum can be used for a lot of important things, but most times you just want to make platinum plates for upgraded materials. Although while very resource heavy and prepped, trying to live on this type of planet has a lot of extreme challenges. Between the lack of oxygen, any of these canyons you come across are actually superheated and super hot. The average temperatures on this planet are a very massive difference. You got 300 degrees Celsius and minus 210 Celsius. That's quite the temperature difference. So this planet is definitely being stretched and thinned every time it changes and goes night to day. So this is not a planet you want to walk around, but you can definitely find vast amounts of ore deposits just to run around and grab if you have a small SV miner, which would not too bad. But at the same time, this is more of a come visit then leave as soon as you can type of planet. Wow, look at all those ores. Whew. Beautiful sunrise. Clouds, but I don't know. Something about this planet just gives me the creeps that I was just obliterated by a solar flare. Okay, folks, so the planet we are about to explore next is what I would consider the hardest planet to navigate. This is the infamous high-gravity world. It is a type of lava planet, lava nascent. It is a very high-gravity planet. This one here is at 4.2 Gs, which is very heavy, so it's almost recommended that if you're going to go down on this type of planet, you want to use a very high-gravity thruster-capable type of ship. I have weight and CPU off right now for this video, so we are going to take my giant UFO and navigate to the surface. Now this planet is populated by a mix of Zyrax and legacy creatures all over the place. The Zyrax are trying to take control because these planets have very good resources. The Zascosium and gold are the absolute pinnacle chef's kiss in my opinion. So the high gravity of this planet is trying really hard to pull my ship down, and if I stop, I start to drop. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get off this planet unless I keep going. I have to keep going straight and pray that I can get off the ground, but this is by far one of the heavier planets. Uh-oh. And I might actually get stranded here. This is not good. Let's see if we point straight up if we can make it. Aha! We have gotten lucky. Okay, so as long as we keep the ship like this, we're okay, but we are burning through our fuel very hard. So as mentioned before, this planet is very resource heavy with a lot of the main rare resources required for anything. So you got your zascosium, sathium, promethium, platinum, erestrium, and a pretty generous amount of gold. If I can just quickly find one just to see how well. Oh yeah, small, small, small amounts is not as good, and very small. Okay, so I guess they must have changed that. And we have some legacy creatures here that are trying to chase us around. We have an abomination and an infected. Now the high gravity on this planet, ooh, uh-oh, fire rain, that's not good. We better get this going quicker. Fire rain, this one of the many weather ailments that will kill you very fast in this. Luckily I have God mode on, so it's not affecting me too much. And it doesn't look like there's a lot of POIs or factions on this planet, just the one set of pirates. Okay, we should probably get my guy back inside. Let it be known that the lava high gravity planet is only for those brave enough to handle all the worst ailments you can have in the game. Now here's a planet that seems to always be a favorite. This is a swamp planet, and this is actually considered a favorite of the Zyrax, because these planets are full of hunting, eating, killing, machine creatures that just love to eat and consume everything in their path. Life-bearing world protected from radiation by a thick atmosphere, which also keeps the heat in. So this is also a planet that is, in a way, going through a type of global warming to some extent, but hasn't quite hit the level of a Venusian planet. But does have quite the generous amount of resources. I just like these planets because I'll land and go hunting. These are great planets to go hunting and just trying to gather up meat. And you do find a good amount of legacy POIs, but I'm curious. Let's see how much of a Zyrax presence we'll find. To some extent or another, this planet's kind of like going down to Louisiana or Alabama swamplands. This is extremely hot and humid. There's plenty of creatures everywhere that want to eat you and kill you, so you can even see the raptors are being killed by the Talon for self-defense, unfortunately. Talons will kill only in self-defense. Look at all the free raptor meat everywhere. Weirdly enough, this planet only seems to have Talon and Zyrax settlements. I'm a little, it's a little confusing because I'm so used to seeing, Talon and pirates, my bad. I think I said Zyrax by accident. I'm so used to seeing Zyrax on these planets, and it's just completely devoid of them. It's very, off-putting. There must have been a lot of changes. But nevertheless, this is a very nice, modest planet to go hunting, and you do find a very generous amount of resources. Plenty of iron, copper, silicon, you got some aluminum, cobalt, titanium, neodymium, promethium, every pretty much main resource you would need. You'll find probably in small quantities, unfortunately, but nonetheless, there's still resources that you need to develop and build up your ships. Looks like the weather is changing though. It's also very hot. 48 degrees Celsius, 11 degrees Celsius low. So it's kind of like being in southern Ontario during the summer when the heat wave and the humidity mix together. Lots of greenhouse effects, unfortunately. This planet will one day in thousands of years be too hot to live, and everything will potentially die. Good to know. Coming across a neutron star, which is not quite the exact same setup as the lovely ones in Reforged Eden, but it's also a nice update to what they've done to the game at least. These are probably going to be temporary while they figure out a more proper way of doing the neutron stars, because this looks like just a giant blue mass superpower. But let's see if there's anything. Nope. There's only irradiated asteroid fields around it. which is okay. Came across a D-class star. Pretty much a type of dying star that lost a lot of its luminosity and shrank in size, but very pretty to kind of fly by and just take in a nice gasp of its pure, indulgent light. I'll admit, this is one of those planets that was actually really hard to find, considering these used to be super abundant. This is a fissile planet, as I like to call it. A barren planet, but it has large amounts of fissile elements deep in its mantle, causing a runaway nuclear reaction. This planet is highly radioactive, it's breathable? O2 content 5.56 breathable? What? No way. I've never seen that. It's never breathable. Okay, well, I guess I'm seeing something new for the first time. A breathable fissile planet. An interesting fact with these planets is they're technically in the process of being terraformed by the Legacy. There are these unknown helix POIs on the planet that are actually the reason why this planet is the way it is. It doesn't fully explain it, but these helixes are supercharging the planet's mantle crust and forcing it to be the way it is. Now we have all these little patches here which are pretty much radioactive cess spots. So let's see if we can find one. Right above us. Now inside this very gloomy, foggy abyss is all of this pentax. Easily collectible. You can just run up to it if you have the right amount of stuff. However, you will come across these gigas. Gigas are very deadly, especially if they can get one hit on you. These guys, they don't like anything. They see something and they punch it. Yep, he's going to run towards me now, so we're just going to fly away. The fact, though, that this planet is somehow breathable with a 5% O2, it just baffles my mind. So this game's probably had a bunch of updates that weren't really thought out about. There's no water to harvest from, but you could put down an O2 atmosphere device and process the water that's in the atmosphere, but it's probably not recommended. Another one of these gigas, just roaming around, waiting for something to kill. This truly is a barren wasteland paradise. These planets are very well known for sathium and neodymium, along with their pentax, but very large amounts of neodymium can be found, and a large, that's small, there we go. Very small and very large sathium deposits. Doesn't look like there's any actual... Oh, nope, there's some pirates with their distilleries and a small space. So yeah, there's actually some activity on these planets. Most of the times you find Polaris mining groups, because Polaris loves to be where the resources are. And yeah, this is a very violent green sky. Radiation's very high. 12.7, so you don't want to be out here too long without a proper suit, because it will kill you. I don't care what anyone says, though. I like to build a base here and have auto miners on that sathium deposits. Oh, and the fact that there's some alien honey growing. And there's some very light but dying vegetation. This planet is living cancer. Found another star worth quickly showing on here. Is a C-class star. I have not seen a C-class star. This is a first. And this is a very violent star, apparently. Carbon star, ruby giant. The sun is angry red and won't last long. The explosion is just slightly postponed by an overabundance of rather uncommon fuel. Wow. The planets here might even be carbon-based. Oh, and a carbon plateau? Oh, this is a whole new planet that I've never seen before. And wow. Okay, we definitely need to check this one out. This is Risk of hostile patrols, oceans of oil. Uh-oh, I can already hear America freaking knocking on the door. Okay, folks, so we are currently in orbit of a planet that I've never even heard of or seen. This is a carbon planet, which is, I don't quite know how to explain it besides maybe showing the description. Oceans of oil and diamond rain. Planets get sorted through by gravity during their formation. Heavy and dense materials sink to the inner. Low density substances rise to the surface as a kind of slag. Carbon is very similar to silicon. Low grade, unsellable, and sharp. Okay, so it looks like there's also some really good resources here. Definitely going to want to check this out. This is also in Zyrax space, so I've kind of started to peek into their territory, but I really want to see what this planet is like. Alright, so we're going to make landfall here, and hopefully I don't die randomly. So it appears this planet is about to be bombarded by heavy acid rain, so I'm not going to be able to really go out and explore it. But at the same time, I'm looking at this planet and thinking, my god, a Korra class cutter. So yeah, this is definitely a Zyrax heavy patrolled planet, especially because we're in Zyrax space. Erestrium, Prometheum, Ascosium, and gold asteroids. So I see some small gold, medium gold. This is a very interesting planet, and water is oil here. It's hard to tell though, because it doesn't look like a planet that would actually have water. As the acid rain begins to come down, yeah, no, that's all dry land here. Makes sense why the Zyrax would be here though, if they have literal oceans of oil. It is insane. Can't quite exactly tell though where this so-called liquid is. The atmosphere is definitely becoming heavy with sulfuric acid. This would definitely be an interesting planet to try and settle on, but something tells me it's not recommended. With the amount of Zyrax Gist forces here, this could be a trap. Something happened to this planet. Very impressive though. Oh, and we're about to hit a rock. Just want to quickly look outside to see. Oh, and yes, I had a feeling this planet was a trap. Populated by the Legacy Overseers. This is definitely not a planet I would want to live on. These Legacy Overseers are the main hive controlling units. They control entire swarms of the Legacy. Kind of like an Overseer from, well, Empyrion. And we have some more right here. Oh, acid rain. Let's get back inside. Good lord. Extremely hostile planet. But resources could be worth the travels, but this is also an extremely rare planet. Good hunting. Alrighty folks, we are coming to the last of the standard planets before we start going hunting for the homeworlds of different factions. This is a young lava planet that had suffered a massive collision of a moon or another planet. As you can see, there are asteroids and pieces of set collision scattered all around this lava planet. Now I've been trying to find the basic lava planet, but I'm kind of wondering if they were all taken out, because I have gone to a lot of stars over the last 4.5 hours trying to find a lava planet. So this might be the best that we get. Now this lava planet, I love lava planets, especially ones like this. This is my go-to place for gold. Now I'm hoping the gold deposits are strong. Something about this lava planet's throwing me off. This doesn't look like lava. This is not the lava planet that I'm used to. I'm not liking what I'm seeing right now. This is not what I'm used to. Collision zone equator. This is not the same kind of lava planet that I might have to keep looking, unfortunately, because this looks like the lava's all dried up. This is not good. I mean, it's hot. I wonder, what's our resource count looking like? Medium gold deposits. Large. Got some large erestrium, large promethium. I don't see any zascosium though. Usually the lava planets that I go to have zascosium. Some more medium gold, but not a lot of gold. Huh. Some large deposits though. Those are always helpful. Old farm. So wow, there was actually settlements here at one point. Satellite wreck, engine components. Doesn't look like there's any POIs though. It looks like it's all just crashed remnants. It's a lava planet, but it looks more like the lava moon. Ah, now the atmosphere is looking very familiar. This lava looks solid. This is not the lava I'm used to. Oh man, I might have to go to Ashon to explain and show a real lava planet, because this is not the lava planet that I'm. This makes no sense. It looks like dry lava. This is not the lava planet I was expecting. Weird. So they must have changed that. Are there any legacy creatures? Hard to tell, because usually these planets also have legacy creatures running around, scurrying, trying to kill anything, but this planet seems very devoid of everything. Huh. Well, once again, exploring and finding things that I didn't know were here in the game. Learning something new every day. Uh-oh. Fire rain. And meteors. Like most lava planets, they are very susceptible to fire rain. In this case, full-out meteor showers. Luckily, I have a shield on my ship, which protects everything, because I'm pretty sure meteor showers would eat through a ship no problem, especially at these temperatures. Hoo-wee. But one thing we can definitely say is, oh, I think there's some lava up here. We could also be, yep, there we go. Aha. Okay, so we have our dried lava, but now we are coming to the actual lava. The type that if I were to go in, I would cook and die instantly of. Okay, that's better. I was curious. It could also be a glitch. There could be lava there, but it's just not showing. The gravity is also slightly higher on some of these planets. For instance, temperature maxes of 220 degrees Celsius and 32. Now that's not if we were on above lava like we are now. Of course, there's no breathable atmosphere, but very thick atmosphere density. That's mostly with the sulfur and the other gases. So right now, being above this lava lake is 700 degrees. Good golly Lord, Lon Johnson. Yeah, lava planets are one of my favorites, and I even try and build bases, and I kind of get that whole Mustafar thing from Star Wars going on. But, so yeah, this is the closest to a lava planet that I'm gonna, unfortunately, find. Because I've been searching for 4.5 hours, and I still need to show the homeworlds, so we're gonna get into that next. While on my way to the first homeworld that I was going to visit, I came across a plateau planet. Temperate plateau planets are very mountainy, rocky worlds with a pretty good significant amount of resources. Let's see here. So yeah, so we actually have a very mass abundance of variety for resources, and hopefully finding platinum and neodymium is a bonus. Ancient and rare, the world is proof of life's resilience. Okay, so looks like an ocean planet collided with a regular planet, giving it all this massive amount of life and water and mixed mountains that unfortunately kind of seeped up all the water. But we're going to check this out. We're also in Zyrax space, so hopefully we don't get shot. Temperate plateau planets are very unusual. I only say that because I look around and there's vast mountains everywhere. Very hard place to kind of build a base on flat land if there's no flat land at all, unless it's on a mountaintop. Now this planet particular, because it's in Zyrax space, is actually very well protected. There's a good amount of Zyrax POIs all around. Epsilon, Gist, mostly Epsilon from what I can see. There's the odd Zyrax drone base. Ooh, and there's even some Traders Frontier Resources. Interesting. And a Frontier Traders Hub. Some research sites. Along with the Abyss Watchtower. Another Abyssal. Mostly Abyssal. I did see a Gist somewhere, but I don't see him now. Oh, wait a minute. Epsilon, 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 and Ep. Okay then, well, I also noticed in orbit when I was coming down, there was a Tovera in orbit somewhere, so that's going to be scary to try and leave. Oh, and it's currently storming. Makes sense, this planet would storm a lot, considering its unusual creation. Oh, we even have Oviraptors just running around with their babies. And a Spino. The Spino looks like it doesn't know where to go, though. And, oh no, it's about to eat the Oviraptors. Nope. Nope, it just wants a piece of me. Let's see, let's go up to these high mountain plateau tops. So yeah, these would actually be an okay spot to build a base. You're way up high, you're protected, depending on whereabouts you actually go to hide. Very gorgeous planets. And there's a spaceport right there. Zyrax are definitely populating these worlds because they're vast amounts of resources and they're habitable. They have a clone army to take care of. Of course, it's storming on a beautiful planet. I would like to point out that in front of us is one of the Zyrax fleet's most deadliest ships, the Tovera Dreadnought. I'm going to see how close I can get to flying towards it. I believe I'm peaceful with the Zyrax. I should have no reason to harm me. So we can get a nice, beautiful shot of it. Oh yeah, we're good. If I die, I die. Oh, my ship actually kind of sizes up to it. Huh, impressive. Not as much detail, but still sizes up to it. Zyraxes are, they love their Tovera ships, that's for sure. They are definitely their fleet's most powerful and most intimidating ship, in my opinion. Jesus Murphy, all those forward-facing guns. I wouldn't want to be caught in that. I do have some videos of taking out some of those Toveras with my own ships. Feel free to check those out. But now we're going to try and find the last type of lava planet while we go to these homeworlds. Because I really want to find that lava planet. Another planet stumbling upon that we haven't seen yet is a desert burnt planet. These have slightly higher gravity, roughly 2.2 to 2.8. Now this particular one is actually sitting at 1.68, radiation 4.9, O2 content is at 55.62, but is not a breathable planet somehow. Very interesting mix of resources between the neodymium, sathium, and uranium than your other resources. It suffered from a stagnant core, vast thermal differences between all rock layers, and no plate tectonics to release the pressure. The mantle layer cools far too quickly in comparison to the rest of the planet, shrinking and cracking its surface like a giant eggshell. But apparently there's still some kind of life growing on this planet, along with whatever Zyraxes are slowly colonizing it. So let's give it a nice quick gander. I don't know how much water we're going to find on this planet, whether or not if it's appropriate to colonize, but it's probably going to be a little heavy. This planet has a very similar attitude, almost like the barren metal planets. However, it seems to be a lot less of an atmosphere, and the scorched surface of this planet reveals quite a lot of pentax and other resources right off the bat. And the view of this giant menacing sun so close, no wonder this planet's burnt. Let's see what our temperature is looking pretty bad too, at 54 degrees, 55, and the closer we go towards the bases here, let's see what kind of a comm station. That's a Rados. I don't think Rados likes us too much. Very interesting formations of rock though, especially with how the lava's kind of like pulking out. This must be where the pressure of the tectonics was trying to release, and it pushes. Oh, and we have some life. Looks like we have some legacy bugs and a lot of pentax. Oh, and it looks like some gold here too. Yeah, let's not get too close to that guy. He's gonna shoot acid at us. Resource-wise though, Sathium, one thing of Erestrium, a lot of carbon, and neodymium. Neodymium is actually pretty abundant in large deposits. This would actually be a good place to mine for neodymium and potentially trade, since we also have traders' frontiers buildings all over the southern hemisphere. Even an office building. Wow, they're I guess they're yeah, this planet. Oh, and it looks like some water in the cracks. So it's not too bad of a planet. The only thing I'd say though is lacking the oxygen and the slightly heavier gravity. Not quite a place that I would want to live. And pole fog, caustic mountains, fissure right below, and that beautiful red tint that I like on some planets. Will admit, it does take your breath away a little bit, but I'm subtly reminded that star is way too close. At this point, I'm pretty much just coming across all the moons and planets that I haven't quite explored yet. So for instance, this is actually a Type 2 lava moon with pretty much a slight bit of an atmosphere to it. If I'm not mistaken, if I go back, the infant moon already lost its atmosphere by the relentless push of stellar wind. Undisturbed, the last open lava seas crystallized in bizarre forms. Some moon lava 2 apparently has ultra difficulty, which is interesting, because the last moon there was nothing. So we're going to check this out. Weirdly enough, as far away as this moon is to the star, it is very dark. Even like as the star is right there, it is only lit up with the pockets of lava that you can see here. Plenty of pentax and copper all around, and the odd bases. This looks like a GIST hideout as well. Let's see, we have a GIST recon base, support base, drone base. Yep. Yeah, no, this is definitely where the GIST are hiding, because they like to hide in darkness. Kind of like the secret service of the Zyrax Empire. This is very interesting, and I believe there's also another lava planet, another collided, but it's an old collided. We'll go over there and check that out. So a collided lava world with its adjacent moon that collided later on. So kind of like Earth, when that one microplanet collided into us and then formed our moon. Same principles happened here. However, this lava world looks like a proper lava world, but at the same time I'm a little skeptical after that whole ordeal finding the other lava world and not the one that I'm used to, the classic lava world as I'm going to call it. But nonetheless, it does say that there's a very good amount of resources on this planet, so we're going to check them out. If not, I'm going to keep hunting for the proper lava planet before we get into the homeworlds. If not, well, then the next clip will be the homeworlds. Just as I suspected, no Zascosium. A proper lava planet would have Zascosium deposits, Erestrium, and gold. Unfortunately, this is yet another one of those lava collided scenarios. Gravity is also 2.48. That's impressive. But there's also, because we're in the conflict zone between the Krill and the Zyrax, I'm seeing Krill bases and Zyrax bases. So there's probably an ongoing war on this planet as we speak. It's always good to see. Oh, again, there's an abandoned weapons lab, crashed capital vessel. Oh, and an abandoned bunker. That's actually impressive. It's all very close to the southern pole, which makes sense. But yeah, unfortunately, this is not the type of lava planet that I'm used to and or looking for. But nonetheless, still a lava planet with some good resources. But now let's see if we can avoid crashing into the lava and get this ship off the planet. Oh, very close. Okay, so I just came across something very interesting. A star that I've never seen before. This is a P-class star. Apparently it has just ignited. If I go to its thing here, about its info, if I can actually get it, if it'll let me. Huh, it's not showing the info anymore. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Protostar, baby sun. An infant star still gaining mass in the cradle of its nebula. Not yet big enough for sustained fusion. The system is too young to have formed large planets, but may be rich in asteroids. Interesting, because I've come across a whole bunch of these little lava planets. I have, let's see here, which ones are lava collided. With all those little lava moons, so lava collided over here, that's old, lava collided young, and lava medium hard. Too young to even have a proper surface? Huh. They all show the same thing. Okay, so we're just going to go to 1, because these all look the same. And then there's also this barren cooled planet. This barren rock carries its history on the surface, completely solidified and no atmosphere to remove tracks and shapes. All encounters will be remembered. Wow, interesting. So that's kind of like a big moon in a weird way. And it even has its own moon desert. Huh. Okay, so first things first, we are going to go to this so-called too young to even have a proper surface lava planet. I can't believe all the stuff I'm finding just exploring. I didn't think I was gonna come across this many planets or stars or moons. I'm kind of in shock. Like, I've been playing this game for so many years, for 15, like, yeah, since 2010 or 2015. Yeah, I think it was 2015. My bad. I remember Alpha 6. I can at least say that. Oh wait, so definitely before 2015. Either way. Let's get this show going still. Well, one thing's for sure, this is pretty much a world of lava oceans. This is a very bright planet, and I'm actually a little concerned about finding any resources on, because it's all lava. I've never seen a lava planet quite like this, except for a hell planet. Okay, so impressively, it says here that we have found the proper lava planet. I'm actually a little concerned and confused at the same time, but let's, yeah, it's got all the things. It's got the zascosium, magnesium. Doesn't have a lot of gold though, but nonetheless, this is technically the lava planet. And it has the same atmospheric look of the sky. So much lava everywhere. I'm wondering, let's hit the map, Q. We have drone base, old farm, zascosium. Got some medium gold. Wow, there's a GIST headquarters here. My goodness, what a place to set up a headquarters. It's kind of like the ultimate Mustafar experience. Behold the glory that is a world born. And that massive P-star, like, apparently it's not even like fully ignited, but it still gives off so much luminosity. It's so impressive. Coming over here towards the shore, oh, I can see some drones. Hopefully they don't mess with me. I should be peaceful with them, but you can't blame them. Right along the edges of the lava trails, we should be able to find some legacy creatures. Along, yep, little bits of Zascosium. Yeah, that drone's leaving us alone, so we're okay there. It's just, it's like, I feel like I'm walking on heaven and hell at the same time. Oh. Oh, the drone found something. And it definitely blew it up. Impressive. So the drones are doing the dirty work for the Gist on the lava planets, taking out all the legacy. That might be why the Gist set up a headquarters here, so that they can monitor the legacy's activity. Wow, he is dodging those shots. A planet torn. Oh, yep, there's the Overseer running around aimlessly doing its thing. This is impressive, though. I didn't think I'd actually find a lava planet, or at least get the token for it. This is an absolute hellscape. They've definitely made a lot of changes to the game, though, that's for sure. Plenty of pentax all around and some promethium crystals to harvest. Over here, we have some type of base. Oh, it's a longhouse, or engine compartment that was abandoned, being protected by the heavier Gatling gun drones. Definitely a very hard planet to live and settle upon. You need specialized equipment, just like a barren scorched. I personally think everyone should try and live on a lava planet at least once in their Empyrion playthroughs. You can learn a lot, and the resources here are awesome. Wow, just look at that giant lava ocean. Golly. Impressive. It's like looking into heaven. This is worthy of a picture, if it'll take. Interesting. This barren, cooled moon planet kind of looks like Mars. It actually gives off a tinge of what Mars would look like. Doesn't seem like it has crazy temperature differences. We'll have to get better scans on the surface, but I'm almost convinced that this is a Mars, an actual proper Mars planet. For all intents and purposes, this barren, cooled planet, 100 degrees Celsius and 110 negative, are the temperature max differences, along with a crap ton of like very small pentaxes. But my goodness, this is actually kind of like a barren scorch, but slightly cooled. It's just another one of those weird planets that I've not seen until now, part of these travels, which is kind of interesting. I mean, if you're still watching this video at this point, then thank you very much for being a part of this. There's so many things that I didn't think were in this game. I'm constantly learning so many new planets and stars and factions and how to colonize all these interesting worlds. This definitely gives off like a heated Mars. And yet there's that P star right up there, shining bright, even though it's not fully fusioned. What a marvel this game is. Absolute treasure. Finally. We have I know this is one of the lava planets that I've been searching for because of the description here. This is the lava planet that I have been looking for, and we are going to warp to it together. Finally. The lava planet that I have been looking for. I have been searching for this planet going on 8 hours now. Considering, yeah, this has probably been a 10-hour recording session. Just exploring all these planets. I'm so happy I finally found this lava world. Pretty similar to the other two that we came, or I guess other three. We found 3 plus the 2 moons. 5, wow, 5 categories of lava worlds. 2 moons, 3 planets, now 4. There are 4 types of lava planets in this game. Can you believe it? It's just Oh, either way, let's make landfall and get a quick resource survey done and see how well the gold deposits are here. Ah, finally, the lava world that I love trying to settle and colonize these type of planets, especially this very particular lava world with 11 gold deposits, a ton of zascosium. Ooh, and there's a lot of krill and Xyrax activity. Let's see, so we have plenty of erestrium, the zascosium, and large gold deposits, which is why I always come to these planets. If you want gold, a good place to come is this very particular lava planet with tons of large gold deposits, which can pay out nearly 3,000 gold ore, which is probably one of the best ways to get gold. Most people would struggle and say going for gold asteroids. I, on the other hand, love coming to this type of planet and harvesting gold until the whole planet is barren dry. Wow, that star looks immensely gorgeous. But yeah, we've already explored a whole bunch of lava planets, so I'm not going to get out. But oh, I'm just so happy I finally found a lava planet. I just want to show these stats here. "58 stars, 25 planets, 7 moons, a crap ton of warped light, nearly 1,000 warped light years, just trying to find these places." Alright, now let's finally visit some of the homeworlds. We're not going to go to every homeworld, unfortunately. We're going to go to a few. The more important ones, or I guess I could say my more favorite ones. Welcome to the first homeworld on our list of homeworlds to visit. This is the Xyrax homeworld of Zehines, orbiting the star Bokhari. Now, this is a sanctuary swamp planet, so only the highest administration level Xyrax can visit and or land on the planet, because most of the Xyrax army is comprised of clones. But this is where they pride their planet and they protect it like it's like the most core valued thing in the entire Xyrax homeworld is this sanctuary planet where the Xyrax royal family lives. Now, I have an entire series of taking out and invading this world if you ever want to check that out. It was a pretty good series, Invasion of the Xyrax homeworld. Did that way back. And it was actually a pretty good series. It worked out very well. I invaded the entire Xyrax homeworld without dying, which was kind of nice. But we're going to quickly land and get a quick tour of some of the main capital buildings. And hopefully I don't get killed. I'm pretty sure I'm honored with the Xyrax anyway, to kind of keep this a lot more simpler. Located on the homeworld is the Council of Elders, which is pretty much kind of like the Parliament of the Xyrax, because they are kind of religious in their own ways. Very well defended along with the shield generator. Not an easy POI to break. Highly recommended if you are going to attack this. Bring a tank. Bring a very powerful HV and auxiliary SVs. Oh, and it's raining. Yeah, this planet rains a lot. Located on the planet's surface is also the Empress Palace, which is probably one of the most heavily defended Xyrax POIs you will ever come across. This actually looks like it's been changed up a bit. It looks a lot different. It could be the same, hard to tell, but I remember when I was storming this place, it was very well guarded with tons of troops everywhere. It was all these endless POI defenses too you had to break through, but there's no shield generator from what I can see, so this might actually be a lot easier than I tried doing last time. But I'll leave that up to you to try and storm those gates, because damn. Interesting, this is a new POI that I haven't seen on the Xyrax homeworld before. It's a capital city owned by Surdu, one of the many factions of the Xyrax, and it actually looks like a nice little mini city. Not too huge, not like you would expect from a human-built city. And yeah, this planet rains almost all the time. It is constantly raining, especially for a swamp planet. This is very nice though. I have not seen this. Doesn't help everything's dark, but Oh, yeah, everyone's got, like, housing units, clone factories, some nice little roads to walk on. Very impressive, very nice little city, actually. Got some fountains, got some statues to commemorate their gods. Kind of looks a little Krillish with all the purple, but I digress. That's the Zyrex for you, always ripping everyone else's stuff off. Around the star Tardifo, there is a planet. Tardifo here, and then the planet is Finalzios. This is the original Krill homeworld. However, there's a bit of a sad backstory to it. The devastation on this planet is visible from far away, and what's more, the cause was not a natural event. If there ever was an atmosphere, then it's been entirely stripped away. There is no sign of life, even at microbiological level, and in essence, this planet is the very definition of a lifeless rock endlessly circling its star. Someone bombarded the planet from space, but who, what, why, and when are yet to be determined. So, this is why the Krill are so angry with the Zyrax, because it was the Zyrax that bombarded this planet. The Zyrax Krill War had been raging for so many years, like hundreds, maybe thousands of years. And the Krill have only recently begun space travel, about 1,000 years, but the Zyrax tried to stop them from expanding and completely bombarded the planet from space with their entire fleet, leaving everything destroyed. So the Krill are now living their main stuff in space. So they have like a Nexus station with a whole bunch of Nexus stations and overseers, comsats. It's kind of sad, but then when you see those alien flora worlds, those are actually the Krill trying to pretty much terraform those planets for a new world, because the Krill are a massive hive mind. But we're going to go on to the planet's surface and see what kind of stuff we'll find. So, surprisingly, the Krill homeworld actually has a whole bunch of deposits. It has resources that you could mine from. I mean, it could be from the churning of the planet being bombarded, but honestly, it's not really a place you want to go to. Sure, it's pretty and all, but at the end of the day, this is where like billions of Krill were vaporized. It's kind of sad because I do like the bugs. Bugs are kind of my favorite when it comes to the different intelligent creature civilizations. But the surface alone tells a horrible, sad truth. Just seeing the complete surface crystallized and charred. Absolutely destroyed. And it's also cold. It's a very cold surface. A completely dead, utterly destroyed planet with no atmosphere. Very sad. Hopefully this never happens to Earth. Hopefully the Zyrax world, though. I'd be okay with that. Down with the Zyrax. Next homeworld to check out is the Trisari homeworld. Now, I'll be honest, the Trisari are a faction that I have little to no understanding of who or what their history or past or anything. Unfortunately, as much as I'd like to figure out, there's not much I can really figure out with the Trisari because there's not a lot of info on them. I can't even like pull up anything about them to learn about them. I think I might have to actually land on their planet. Epatri Prime, or sorry, the star system's Epatri Prime, and their main home planet is Nixia, with 3 habitable planet moons. They're like little forest moons, kind of like the forest moon of Yavin 4. But this planet is very toxic, and apparently the gases shouldn't support life, yet they do. Our home planet seems to be very vacant of POIs, but it does have a welcome center, which I'm actually a little curious. I can teleport. I don't know if press F to teleport to. Is there a specific spot that I can teleport to? I'm curious. No, it just allows me to teleport within a 30 light year range, which is not too bad, but this sweltering crystal patches, and it's very hard to see anything even with the light on. There's not very good lights, or not very much refractive light. Very interesting planet though. We'll go back to the sunlight here. So it's kind of like an alien flora world, but it's a lot more crystallized. Much warmer temperatures, but the trees look pretty fun, and there's no radiation except for like the small pockets of radiation. It's got Earth-like trees. It's a very interesting homeworld. And yeah, not a lot of POIs, if any, really. We got the drone base. There is a turret defense, along with the welcome hub that we were just at, and cryogenic facilities. So, and it's got some good gold deposits, some medium gold deposits, some large sathium, tons of resources now that I look at it. Yeah, definitely a planet worth looking for. And every time you find a planet or a homeworld, you are given a explorer's token, which you can use to get the upgraded stuff for rewards at the gin consoles. There's a bunch of asteroid fields that was supposed to probably go to, but never did. Asteroid fields also unlock some explorer tokens. Very interesting planet. Oh, look at that. It's even got the binary star, Patria Prime and Patria Minor. That's cute. I like to point out that rogue systems have actually been added to the vanilla game. So rogue planets are the ones that don't have a star and they just fly aimlessly. However, most of the rogue planet systems in the vanilla are some type of gas giant with a frozen moon, or the odd radiated ice moon or radiated ice planet. So we've already kind of visited those, but I just wanted to point out that it's actually kind of cool that they've slowly implemented stuff from Reforged Eden and actually made it, you know, part of the game, because it was pretty popular. We are approaching the end of this video. There are tons of different faction homeworlds to visit. I could go to all of them, but I don't want to spoil everything in this game. I've only went to the ones with the most interesting looking planets, in my opinion. We are now coming to the final homeworld, and that is the Legacy homeworld. This is a massive evil green star that unfortunately it is evil because all of the Legacy draws its power from it. Yara, and it's an unknown class of star as well. So if we look at the a green star, by or current understanding of the universe, physically impossible, yet here it is with its rare shine, promising new knowledge, wealth, power, but the total lack of data suggests there's a certain detail preventing everybody from gaining such, likely a very dangerous one. And in the quote, "Here be dragons." Even the Yara B, which is another neighboring star, if we can see it, I think it's on the other side of the star, unfortunately. But around this star system is the legendary Mevoy. This is the Legacy homeworld. And now these asteroid fields that orbit around the star have a lot of really good resources. Oh look, Nexus Control T1, that's interesting. Legacy infested star systems and asteroid fields pose a challenge when you have to fight very menacingly strong ships. But we are going to go to the Legacy homeworld as our final destination for this exploration video of Empyrion. Who knows, we might warp in and get blown apart by the enemy ships that are waiting for us. The menacing green evil watches as we approach its beloved home planet, the Legacy homeworld. Now from this side of the planet, it doesn't look like much, and a lot of people haven't quite seen what the Legacy homeworld looks like. Today I'm going to risk my ship and everything that I've earned in this to give you a glimpse of what the true power and true evil of Andromeda. There's a whole bunch of legacy ships right there, and they're staying close by. This is where nightmares are born, especially the legacy ships. Now, some people are able to build very devastating warships that take on multiple legacy ships, but if you're not careful, they will consume you very quickly because their shields regenerate faster than anything you can make with regenerative shields. Their armor is strong, but it is also xenosteel. Xenosteel is very kind of discriminate for laser weapons, but very resistant to explosive rounds and artillery fire. This planet is the home of the slumbering menace known as the Corruptor. The Corruptor is a giant black orb that during the Great Legacy War with the Xyrax and Talon, it would move from planet to planet, system to system, destroying entire solar systems with its pure immense power, infesting and infecting all. The surface of the Legacy homeworld, completely scarred, barren, and a desolate wasteland, with tons of Legacy POIs scouring the whole place. And in the center of it all, a giant purple field of what looks like pentax. It's like a glowing eye, and unfortunately it's trying to load a lot of POIs at once right now, so this is very heavy lag. A lot of heavy lag, unfortunately. It does not... There's so many legacy POIs in this area that you will encounter lag. If you don't, then sweet, you have a supercomputer, but... Now, it must be noted that the Legacy homeworld is extensively crawling with abominations and overseers all over the place. And, of course, you got your friendly alien scorpions. But let's travel across the great purple expanse, trying to avoid fire from all these towers. Because even though I'm in God mode, they still want to kill me. And there, as it spawns and loads in, the great corruptor in slumber is sleeping, regenerating its power, very well protected by the charged helixes on the bottom, on the surface. The corruptor itself is actually a POI that you can enter. It has some very awesome loot inside, by the way, but getting inside is very difficult. You want to attack these charged helixes, take care of each individual one until the main square is completely left undefended. Ow, that hurt. Once you do get inside, with a small SV preferably, I don't even have a gun on me, so I can't even shoot back at anything at the moment, there is an entrance. It's on one of these sides, and you must enter through this entrance in order to access the POI. Ah, here it is. So you would come into here, where you would fight an onslaughting army of legacy creatures. Everything from infiltrators, soldiers, level 7 abominations. And you come into this POI, and you are pretty much in the heart of the corruptor. This thing is also extremely laggy because this, for whatever reason, this planet is also struggling. Exploring this just to kind of get a cool idea, you can find some very rare ore, some very rare loot. I do apologize, this lag is crazy. This planet is also very in test mix. Oh, so you got some finding xenosteel is not quite rare in my opinion. Some laser weapons. Again, nothing super crazy. Now, If I go deeper, there is one thing that I want to mention. There is a... here we go. Some more laser weapon stuff. Some more fun stuff. But there's a special room that you have to find, which contains a code. And this code will give you access to the more powerful, rare loot. I think that's the same stuff. Coming through here. Here we go. Yes, just avoid those. There is this room here, however, in order to access it. Wow, everything's exploding for whatever reason. My goodness, traps everywhere. I wonder what's firing at us. Must be traps, but some of the loot that you can find here, epic weapons of various kinds, along with some gold and good treasures. Now, here's a very big secret. If you've watched this entire video and you're watching this now, this will be very helpful. So behind this wall, which is hard to see, but you can break through these walls here and see this code. 1101. Now, what does this code entail? Inside this room, there are these two boxes. If you enter the code 1101, you gain access to an advanced core. And we all know what advanced cores do. Same thing with this one, and a second advanced core. Now, this is how you get advanced cores, is you have to fight your way through this POI and get them through such means. Now, that code's always the same, so if anything, I might be spoiling a lot here, but at the same time, I haven't found a single video that explains how to get that code. And, ooh, you have some more loot here. Epic shotgun, nice. I'm not even going to take this loot, though, because this is just an exploration video. Now that we have taken our auto cores, the corruptor is pissed, and he has all of his little minions shooting down at us. But, yeah, I hope this was enough info. This is one heck of a video, in my opinion. This is very long, and this took me 8 to 10 hours to record. But we have explored many corners of Empyrion, mostly the planets, getting the planet logs. Wow, this was a very long video. This is also probably going to take even longer to edit. But, I hope you guys did enjoy this, and if you watch it all the way at the end, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you want some more Empyrion. I might even do a separate video thing that's just the homeworlds, because I didn't do all the homeworlds in this one. Just wanted to, like, you know, give a rough aptitude example. Wow, this is so laggy right now. I did just travel the universe immensely, so the more you travel and warp places, the more you can bog down your save file, which is happening right now. Wow. Considering this is quite the massively dead planet, somehow there's still life here. Well, folks, as the green sun rises and the evil permits itself, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'm also very tired. I'm about to work at night shifts this week, so I hope this was worth it. As always, stay safe and stay happy.